Hey everybody, Scott Jansen here with another 100K coaching program interview. Today we have Shana. Today we're going to be sitting through an interview with us today. Shana is a hypnotherapist, and I've been very excited to jump on this interview with her. She's doing a lot of amazing things in her business, helping some amazing clients. So what we're going to be doing today is sort of picking Shana's brain, diving into her business, find out what she's doing, find out the type of niche and the type of people that she's helping, what it's like to be a successful business owner as well, find out what she was doing before, what her future is with her business, and all that fun stuff as well. So Shana, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Look, let's start from the absolute beginning. So I know you're a hypnotherapist. What was happening, or what were you doing in your life before hypnotherapy, and what made you transition and find hypnotherapy?
Actually, at the time, I had two kids. I'd had my career in sales recruitment, actually, in London, in the city of London. Then left there because wanted to get pregnant and start having kids. It wasn't the lifestyle you could do that with. So took some time off. I had done a psychology degree prior to all of that, and some other courses and trainings and whatever, and was always really interested in psychology and the mind. But I needed to find a career then that would fit into having two young children on my time, my terms. So I trained to become a hypnotherapist, and I did in London. Hypnotherapy, psychotherapy, I did all of that kind of stuff. CBT, NLP, got all of that training, and then I just started, and that was about 12 years ago.
Okay. What got you into sales before hypnotherapy? Was that like a career choice, or just something you fell into?
So I left university with a psychology honours degree. Didn't know what I wanted to do. Went down my local high street and decided I should really temp, because I had no idea what to do. I walked into the local recruitment office. They then hired me to work in their office.
Oh, wow.
And I kind of worked my way up from there. I ended up leaving that company and went to work for a very elite legal recruitment company in the city of London, and ended up running their temporary staff department before I left. Wow. So it was a very stressful job. I loved it. A lot of client entertaining, which was fantastic. But yeah, it's the kind of lifestyle you want to have children.
Okay. So when you decided to leave and get into hypnotherapy, and the reason I ask this question is because, like, most people we speak to, they usually go to hypnotherapy or become RTT trained or a coach to heal themselves before they think about running as a business. What was it for you? Was it strictly business or for yourself? How did it happen?
So I was looking for something to do with my kids, as I said, and I, at the time, had IBS.
Ah, okay.
And I'd been to doctors. They just said, don't eat this, do eat that, you'll be fine. And it wasn't helping. I didn't know at the time it's a stress-related condition that, and somebody suggested, go have some hypnotherapy, it might help.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I looked up the local hypnotherapist. I had one session. I have to tell you, I was unimpressed.
Oh, wow. Wow.
But I thought I could do that. And
Gotcha.
I did. So I got trained, and I never looked back. So I set up a practice from home, worked around the kids and everything, and then we decided 9 years ago that we were going to move to states. So we moved 9 years ago to Florida, which is where I am now. And I decided, well, I'm going to settle the kids in school. Everything. So I'm not kidding you, within 2 weeks, I had my first client beg me who suffered, this guy, the dad from school, suffering with anxiety, in a terrible state, found out what I did, and he said, please, I didn't have an office, I had nothing. I met him in my back, like my spare room in the house.
Yeah.
And he was my first client, and it kind of word of mouth, and then I kind of then started working at a wellness spa about 4 years ago, and that's where I've been ever since. Yeah.
Okay. When you did your hypnotherapy training, what did it impress you, and what did you like about it?
I enjoyed learning the nuts and bolts of it. I think the original training that I took could have been better. And so since then, I've really reinvested in myself over the years and taken other trainings, and I enjoy doing that even still. I do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think it's very important to stay modern, to stay up to date, to network with fellow hypnotherapists or hypnotists, whatever, and otherwise you get stale and stagnant, and your clients know that. So
I can feel it.
I really think it's important. Yeah.
Yeah. So you then were sort of in your area, interacting with other people that lived around you. You got this first client. What was it like for you when this father came to you and said, like, I really need this help with anxiety, please help me? What was that first client like for you?
Oh, it was awesome. I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, how did this happen without me even trying, you know? And then that kind of snowballed, and it just continued. I think when you have, you know, you're good at what you do, that's all you need to worry about. And the client in front of you, and you just do your thing and trust in yourself. And just do it. You know, it works. Yeah, it works.
So how did they find out? Were you sneakily like telling people? Were you handing out business cards? How did they find out what you're doing? Because usually when people hear hypnotherapy, they sort of freak out and go, oh my God, this is crazy. What's she going to say to me? What was it like for you?
When I first got here, or when I first started back home?
Back home, when you got that first client.
Okay, so I started doing originally while I was training. It was like a 10-month training.
Oh wow.
So the last 4 months, they encourage you to work with friends and family on just kind of, you know, not deep stuff, but just to perfect your inductions and, you know, everything else. And so I was going for it. I thought, you know, I've got to get good before I start charging for this. So, and then, you know, I'd always say, right, when I'm ready, I'm going to ask you to start telling your friends your experience. And I got my little business cards printed, and I'm dotting them all over the place. And I think I had a little mini website at that point. I think I did. Yeah, I think I probably did. And a little bit of Facebook maybe, but it was really, I built it on reputation, on referrals.
Okay.
That's how I've done it when I got here too, pretty much. Yeah.
Were you just sort of helping anybody that came through? Did you understand the whole niching thing, or was it just everybody?
No. Everybody. I helped everybody. I helped everybody do anything they wanted to do.
As you normally do when you first start. So when you moved to Florida, what happened next? Were you like, okay, I'm going to take the business that I have in the UK, I'm going to do the same thing in Florida. It was just like a transition, just a different state, really, a different country, really.
Exactly the same thing. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I was just helping everybody with everything.
Right. How long were you doing that for?
Helping everybody with everything up until I started your program.
Okay. So
I've been here, it'll be 9 years in the summer.
Oh, so you've been doing it for that long before you actually started niching and stuff like that?
I've been doing this, I think this year, it's at least 11 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you said before you went and worked, it was a wellness spa?
Yes.
How did that all come about?
4 years ago, I got introduced to the owner of the wellness spa locally.
Okay.
10 minutes from, can you hear me? Yeah. Them very much into mind, body. And so they had a couple of life coaches working there, the owner being one of them. And I think it piqued her, you know, the hypnotherapy or the hypnosis piqued her interest. I met her through a mutual friend. And she asked me to come and do a workshop at her facility. I did a workshop. There must have been about 15 people present for that workshop. It's a small, I mean, we're at capacity, but it's a small little place.
Yeah.
And half the people that came to the workshop wanted private sessions.
Oh, wow. Okay. I
said to her, you know, I feel it's unfair that I take them away. Let me see them with you, and you can, you know, get some income at the same time. So we scheduled them, and that kind of transition. Well, why don't you stay? It's great. All your clients here. And we can refer people to you as well. And that was 4 years ago.
Okay. What else were you doing to get clients? Was it so it was mainly just through the wellness center? Was word of mouth starting to spread as well? What else were you doing? Were you doing any social media?
Very little. I didn't really understand it very well, but I put together a Facebook business page and started posting stuff on there and started doing some videos. Nothing live. It was all pre-recorded.
Right.
What else did I do? I think I spent a little bit of money on boosting and ads and just trying to figure it all out. Nothing was working as far as that was concerned. My clients were, I'm still seeing clients, so, but it wasn't through any real effort of marketing that I was doing. It was all through referral. Okay,
so it was all basically coming off, like you said, your skill set, on like being good at what you do.
Yes, and also I am still very much involved in my community, and so I do a lot of networking. I'm involved in a couple of networking groups that maybe I would go to once a month. Nothing, no huge time suck, but it's important. I think you're in a smallish town to be known, and you know, I want to be known as the expert, so I've got to tell people about it. You know.
Yeah, and just doing what you're doing, was it enough to reach like your goals as a business owner?
No.
Okay.
No.
How long? So you've been doing that. So you're running the hypnotherapy business, I should say, for the last 4 odd years. So you're working in the wellness spa, you're doing a bit of networking, dabbling a bit in social media. What happened next? Obviously you've only been in my program. I actually thought it was a lot longer, but it's only been like 7 weeks. And what you've transitioned to is unbelievable. What happened before you joined my program? Because obviously the reason why someone joins a program is just like our clientele. They have a problem that they want to solve. Were you looking to grow the business? Were you actively looking for a mentor? What was happening at that time to think, you know what, I need to do something different?
Yes to both, I will say. I actually had to hire. So I tell you what actually happened. Both my kids now are no longer small. I've got one is going off to university in the fall, and the other one's just started driving.
Wow.
And I'm told on a regular basis, we don't need you anymore, Mum. We're fine.
Yep.
So I find myself with all these hours now where I could be seeing more clients or work, or I could be making more, or, you know, really kind of ramping up. I've got the time now. And last summer, I went to one of these hypnotherapy conventions and had an epiphany that there are people out there moving and shaking, and I've been left behind. So I got a bit pissed, I have to tell you. So I thought, right, I've got to do something about this. So I hired a mentor. So I picked somebody who is prevalent in our profession, because I wanted to emulate what she was doing. Very successful, and I wanted to know what she was doing. So I just messaged her on Facebook and said, "Hey, do you want to tell me everything? Tell me how you've done it. I want to know." And she was lovely. She really gave me everything that I needed to know. But it became apparent that I don't really want to do what she was doing. She's written books, and she's traveling the world, talking to all these. She's training people in her protocol. All over the world, and you know, doing well. I don't have a protocol that I have developed, but I've got. I just haven't. It's not my thing. My thing is I do amazing work with clients. So even though she was amazing, I was getting a little bit frustrated because it wasn't matching what I needed. I didn't know what I needed, Scott.
Okay.
And then I think it was around November time, could have been early December, that you friended me on Facebook.
You know why now? Yeah.
Now I know why, obviously. And of course, I looked on your profile and it tells me what you've done. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So I watched your video, your webinar, and I thought, okay, this is speaking to me. This is what I want to do. So I decided that then I booked a call with you. We had a nice conversation, but I wasn't quite ready because it was Christmas time and it was chaotic. And I thought, if I'm going to do it, I need to commit to it and do it. And now's not the time. So I remember putting in my calendar when I was going to post it in January, because I knew that, I think you said something in that webinar, you know, you have to do everything I tell you to do.
Yes.
So I knew I had to commit. And so I decided the date it was going to be that I was going to pay for it. That's what I did. I paid for it. And that was about 7 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. So before, like, were you being taught to, like, what was it exactly? Was it just a lot of networking type things? What was being taught?
A lot. It was a lot about, so she was telling me what worked for her, and it's working for her, you know, building an email base. Which I know, you know, is coming, and I do have a fair amount of clients on my email list. But you know, that's not what I really wanted to be. I didn't want to just be selling them, having them be old clients, so that they've had their transformation. So then really not my clients now, although yeah, I could make a little bit from them, but that's really right now what I wanted to be doing. And she's written a couple of books. She's become this big name in the industry. And that's what she was trying to teach me to do, but that's not conducive to where it felt right for me to be. So, you know, I mean, we still talk every now and again because we get on really well, really helping me too much anymore. But I just knew after a while, I think I'm pushing myself to go in a direction that does not feel right.
So was it matching with, like, what your goals were and what you were trying to do and the type of clients you were trying to reach and stuff like that? Okay. So yeah, I remember that phone call we had, and then you joined. I honestly thought you were in the program for a lot longer, so that's really cool. So January came, you joined the program. What happened next?
So I joined the program, and I almost remember, like, before I watched the first video, I made a commitment to myself that I'm just going to do everything you tell me to do without thinking about it. And then you said it, and I thought, wow, that's really cool. Because, you know, I'm clearly in the right mindset, and I'm just not going to think about it. I'm just going to do it. Whatever you say, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to question it. And that's pretty much what I've done. And it was fairly uncomfortable, but because I wasn't allowing myself to overthink the steps, I think I found it a challenge, and I was excited by the challenge. Like, okay, I am going to do this. I am going to do this, you know. And I don't know, it just flowed.
Awesome. What's been the biggest shift for you looking at the material, and especially with week 1 and week 2 probably being the most prevalent parts of the program? What has changed for you? Like, if you look back on the Shana before you even started the program, what's different now, being that it's only been like 6 or 7 weeks? What's different?
I will own up to the fact that I think I'm on week 3, because I had to stop. And it's kind of, I felt like I'm not quite ready for the next stage yet. I need to perfect what I've done. And then, of course, you then go and re-record all of week 2 again. And now I'm back
and start again.
Start again. So, you know, I'm not anywhere near, I guess, where I should be with the program, but I don't care. You know, I'm excited to what's come, but I'm also, you know, what has been, I think, so for me transformational is systems, knowing what I should be doing when I should be doing it, and knowing that if I just do it, then everything else will be taken care of. I'm telling you, I've had years of doing this without knowing the hell what I'm doing. And it's almost like, well, I'll try this and I'll try that and I'll try, and just not even knowing whether any of it worked, because I didn't know how to understand, you know, what I was getting clients, so I knew something was working, but I
just didn't know what.
No.
Yeah. And that's that systems and asymmetry thing that, you know, it's a big part of our program. So as you're moving through it, obviously we talk a lot about niching. So I'm curious to find out, like, you're working with everybody before. Let's talk about the niche you have now, and why did you decide to work with that type of person?
So I found that really quite difficult at first to figure out what niche I was going to go for. And I kind of took a look at the clients that I've been working with in the last 6 months, and they've all got anxiety underlying. Everybody's got anxiety. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to start there and see with my niche. I thought,
yes.
I'll start with anxiety. Problem is, where I am in Florida, I can't use the word anxiety.
Yes.
When I have to be careful with using medical terminology. So I've come up with anxious thinking.
Beautiful. Yeah.
And a whole bunch of other stuff in my statement. Self-sabotage is kind of another hot word that people tend to, in my client base, tend to identify with as well. I do prefer to work with women than men. It's not that I prefer to, I'd say 80% of the people I work with are women. So I thought, well, I'll go with that too, because that's what's happening. I tweaked my statement. What's it called again?
The I help statement.
I help statement. I even tweaked it again today.
Beautiful.
I love playing around with it. And I tweak it when I hear a word that a client would say to me, and I think, yeah, that needs to go in there somewhere, I think, and see how it feels for a few days, and then I might change it again. I'm not stuck with it.
Good.
And I don't think anyone should be.
No.
It takes a lot to get it out, first of all, but then know that it's in motion.
Yeah, it's alive. It's supposed to move. It's supposed to evolve. It's supposed to oscillate. Absolutely. Because then as it grows, it's a direct reflection of you growing as a business owner and a person as well. So being that you're doing no social media before, what's it like now, knowing that we tell you guys to do a hell of a lot of it?
Scott, I can't tell you the response that I have got from the positive response that I have got. And the more I'm doing it, the more positive, and it's amazing.
Wonderful.
I'm getting messages all over the place. Please do more videos. I'm like, my gosh, I've got more time to do more. I'm trying. My goal is to do one every day, but sometimes I just can't get to it. But on the days that I can, I'm doing it. And I was actually sick 2 weeks ago, so I went out for a whole week. I couldn't actually. I had a kidney infection. And I was so upset with myself that I felt like, oh wow, I'm going to lose all that traction, that I was starting to build. But actually, it made no difference. Like, as soon as I could jump back in, it kind of built up again. And this week has been probably the most response that I've received yet. So I'm just assuming that it's going to continue.
Yeah, that's that fractal.
Sharing. The last video I did was yesterday, and I think 7 people shared it.
Wow.
And and I'm getting messages from people thanking me for doing it, which is great, because now I'm motivated to do it more. It's nice to get positive feedback. That's
that compound interest thing we talk about in video number 2 of week 1. That's the first thing we talk to you guys about. It's the fractals, the compound interest. So what you're doing today won't show up as a result for weeks later. And you keep building on top of that. And it's like you're always ahead of the momentum. So even if you stop and have a break, you've still got those systems in the background working for you rather than just being dead.
Right.
So doing the lives, you're doing YouTube, refining your niche. Now that you've defined the niche and you've sort of expertized, if that's a real word, in the anxiety field, what are the clientele like now? Is there a difference in like level of motivation of client now they're seeing you as the expert? Are you seeing anything different there?
No, I don't think so. I think the response on Facebook has become to be that way. The actual clients themselves, I think I've worked hard to be seen as the expert locally. It's just the people I haven't yet reached.
Yes.
I think. Yes.
And that'll build as well.
Yeah.
So one question I want to ask you, because no one really asked this question. I don't know why we haven't asked it. what's it like to be a business owner? Obviously, everyone just sees the success, the end result, and the happy, business owners. What's it like for you running the business, having to do a lot of this content, build the systems, build the business, build, expertise, get over your own stuff, all that? What's it like for you? Like, what's the background like for you as a business owner?
It's hard work.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, and there's no getting around. You've got to put the work in and be organized, and get up and do it. Mm-hmm. And just do it. Even the stuff you don't enjoy doing, you just got to do it, because you can't just pick and choose the stuff you want to do and expect everything else to fall into place. You can't. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I just think, and I thank you for that, because in the back of my head, I have you just saying constantly, just move on, just do it, get over it, move on. Like, your words in these videos are replaying in my mind when I need that motivation to, and I'm thinking, really, so I'd rather be doing this or whatever in this aspect. But then, I know, even though I've only been doing it just a few weeks, it's happened so quickly for me. It's motivating, and I don't care anymore doing the stuff and doing the hard work and putting those hours in, even though, that organic outreach is still difficult, because it's time intensive. I still haven't perfected it. I'm still trying different things. And I think I always will. I kind of feel like I don't want to give that to a VA. I know you've said do that, but I kind of feel like I'm not sure how that would work, honestly. But I'll tinker with it. I'll see. I don't know. I'm nowhere near ready yet.
Yeah, and that's the mindset. When you have it nailed, you'll be pushing that away off to someone else quicker than you do everything else, because you don't have to monitor it. If you don't have to monitor a part of the system, this frees you up to do the stuff you're awesome at, which is the Facebook Lives and the videos. That's your asymmetry.
I get that. Yeah. I'm not yet there yet.
Exactly. It's probably one of the hardest things to do. Everyone hates doing it, but it's such a short-term strategy where you could literally message someone and they say, hell yes, Shana, I want a phone call. You can't beat that. Not even Facebook ads are that quick. Yeah. The fact you can control the message to the person, and they're either going to respond with go away or yes. Right. As long as you can get over the mindset of speaking to strangers, it is such a quick strategy, especially if you just want to get your first couple of clients. Right. Then nail it and then pass it on to somebody else.
Right. Yeah.
So,
and it is in that whole learning curve of understanding how to do it is huge.
Yeah.
And I have got on calls with people, thinking to myself, one thing and it not being that way. And but yeah, I enjoy the strategy calls a lot. But getting the outcome through the organic outreach is challenging. Yeah. But I'm sticking to it, and I'm going to continue it until I perfect it, and then see what happens.
Move on. Honestly, once you nail it, it's the hardest thing you'll do. Literally, hands down. There's no way around it. And it's the hardest thing to get right. But once you get it right, it'll be the most effective part of your system to bring in paying clients consistently. Most people don't want to go through that headache of trying to work it out. They just dismiss it. Like, they try it once, doesn't work. They move on to something else. You have to master this thing. The things that we should master are always the hardest thing. And it's a part of the system. So being that you're doing all this work now, you're growing, you're evolving as an entrepreneur. What's it like for you? Are you changing as a person, or is it just the business training? How are you finding yourself?
Oh, I've totally changed. I've had to, because I'm taking myself more seriously.
Good.
I'm much more organized. I have to be. Otherwise I wouldn't have enough time to do this. And even, I'm going to go as far as saying the relationship with me and my husband has changed, because he's taking things.
Wow.
Like, when I told him, I'm going to invest in this program, he was like, rolled his eyes. Oh, here we go again, But then when I started to prove that it, you know, it works, he's now all of a sudden encouraging me, you know, aren't you going to go and do your thing?
Haven't you got strategy calls to do? Yeah. Awesome.
You know, whereas before he'd probably say, why are you spending so much time on social media? You know, that was that at the beginning, that was quite a challenge to try and to explain to him what I've got to do.
Yeah.
But the minute I think I got my first client using the process, he's sort of, his ears picked up a little bit, and he's like, okay, got it.
What's it like to have someone who's supportive now? Because we hear this a lot. A lot of people will tell us, you know, Scott, I want to invest at your program, but my husband or wife doesn't want me to. What's it like for you now, knowing that your husband is very supportive? He's including himself in the work as well. What's that like for you now?
That's what I said. It, you know, this program really has been transformational because now he's taking what I do even more seriously than he did before, and he's seeing it as a business. And really taking notice, and there's a lot of respect there.
Okay. What do you think he was thinking about before? Was it just like, another thing?
Yeah, I think when I told him about that I wanted to invest in you and the program, and he was just fairly dismissive, and wasn't particularly supportive. He you know, he didn't say, no, don't do it. I almost had to sell it to him.
Sure.
And I just said, well, I'm going to do it, and you know, I'm going to be successful with it, and it's going to work, and you know, don't see if I do, kind of thing. And he was like, okay, you know, but he certainly wasn't. Yeah, I think we can do this. Yeah. And I should imagine a lot of people go through that too. But you know, if it feels right, and it did, then I think you've got to kind of go with that instinct that it is the right thing to do, and you know, and it does work. Well, it certainly started working for me very quickly, and I hear that over and over again in our private groups, and so and I've referred a few people to you too.
Yeah.
In fact, I think you've got a call on Sunday.
Yes, we do tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely.
And I've been she's been messaging me with questions, and I keep saying to her, save it for Scott. He will answer. Trust in the answer.
Yes, awesome. What's motivating you to do this? Because like, unless people have experienced this, like when we say it's a lot of work, we really mean it. Like it is a hell of a lot. It's consistent. Yeah. You're probably finding that you never stop thinking about the business. It's always on your mind. Yeah. What's motivating you to actually do this and do the lives, do the YouTube, do the strategy calls, the outreach? What's motivating you?
I think honestly, it's the knowing that I can be very successful and have financial freedom doing what I do, and really feeling satisfied with that. I'm giving this much and I'm getting this much in return. Whereas I never felt that before. I always felt that there was an imbalance of what I was giving versus what I was receiving. You know, and also it allows me to free up more time to develop other things as well, because of all the systems that we have in place. It allows us to really be creative if we want to.
Yeah. What's the long-term goal with this? I don't know. Are you wanting to see face-to-face clients for the rest of your life? Do you have other goals? What do you want?
My goodness, I tell you, when we had our strategy call originally, I wanted your therapy MAXIMISER program.
Yes.
Because I felt I wanted to automate everything and simplify everything. When you said no, I was really pissed.
Most people are.
You said you're not ready, and I was like, "What do you mean I'm not ready? No, I'm not ready. I've been doing this a long time. Of course I'm ready." I had no idea what that meant, but I trusted you, and I thought, "Okay, I'll do what he says," and there we go. I actually can't remember much about what that program did for you, but I just know I really wanted it. So I don't know the answer to that question yet. ask me in a year, maybe.
Right. Yeah, because we're only 6 or 7 weeks in, but I hope you appreciated me saying no to MAXIMISER, because
Now
it is
I
not a,
do.
yeah, most people get pissed, but it's only for, you have to be at a certain place in order to have MAXIMISER work for you, because
Yeah.
you can't, like, here's the thing, and I get it, what you say, like, when I joined that program because it's about programs and automation, that's what everyone jumps to first, and that's why most people fail. What makes an awesome program, what makes great automation, is you have to know your market inside out. You have to have experience based on the protocol and systems we give you to make that work. To have essentially like a webinar do all the selling for you instead of doing strategy calls, there's a lot of trust in that webinar, and most people aren't at that stage right at the start. So you'll get there eventually. We'll have a conversation one time where you'll say, Scott, I'm done with one-on-one clients. I know what I'm doing, got my proof of concept. What's next? But if I started you there, we wouldn't be having this phone call right now. You would have been pissed, because it would have been so far over your head that you would have got nothing out of it.
Right.
So,
no, I see that now. I see that now. Yeah. So I think the answer to your question, I don't know, because I'm not sure what the next step is with that program. I'm going to be doing that program eventually. So maybe once I understand what that's going to do for me, then I can determine then what comes after that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That program is about never seeing face-to-face clients again.
Yeah. I'm happy with that eventually. I mean, I feel like, when I get there, I will be happy with that.
You'll know, because you'll be able to look at all your clientele and they're just getting results, and you don't even have to put a lot of work into it. And then your clients are going to start saying to you, what else do you have? Do you have anything else? And that's usually a good sign from a market to say, okay, I can automate this now. I can get into group coaching and online programs. Building out an online program, as you're well aware, because you're in our program, is such a massive level that most people would freak out. It took, 2.5 years to build it the way it is now, and we're still iterating it. You're just going through the last updates and it's still not complete yet. So you have to, focus and dedicate on that, but you have to be in a place where you don't need to be seeing face-to-face clients, because you've got enough cash reserves, the business is running by itself. You don't have to rely on that. Then it's a massive transition to say to your one-on-one clients, I'm not seeing you anymore. It's now time for programs. But we'll get there. Everybody will, but it's an evolution you have to go through.
Yes.
So being that you're in the community, you're talking to other hypnotherapists, you're going to these events and stuff, what do you see as, from where you are now, looking in on that, what do you see the biggest issue around, like, therapists who are struggling and coaches who business are sort of failing? What do you see the issue is?
There's no systems, there's no plan, there's no process. And there's no understanding on how to get that. I think really that's it. I literally do everything you say. It's my book that you recommended
wonderful.
2 days ago.
Yes.
That's my weekend reading.
Yes.
So I honestly, I really firmly believe that what you teach is priceless for us, because it is life-changing on so many different elements, and so impactful, so that we can then go and help others in a way that we're really taking care of ourselves too.
Yeah. So from where you were before, which is pretty much when most therapists start, me included, was, what's the best thing I can do right now that I hope will get me a client? Should I do this? Should I do that? I'll try this. I'll try that. There's so much confusion and chaos, but there's no control or predictability. But where you are now is, if you do a Facebook Live, what the result's going to be. It's going to sort of turn into a paying client after the strategy call. And we can track all of this, but without systems, like you said, you're just sort of throwing everything out there, hoping something works. And if it does work, just thinking, well, that's an anomaly. Hopefully this happens again. Whereas now you get your paying clients, your clients having great success. You can look back and go, that's what I did to get that result. Well, a smart person will just keep doing that thing over and over and over again. That's going to produce that cause and effect thing. Would that be correct where you are now?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
That systems book will change your life.
Really?
It's boring. People will find it boring because you have to associate what this woman's talking about to business.
Right. Okay.
She's talking about the world, famine, plumbing. She talks about it all over, but you have to associate it to what you're doing, which is all inputs, processes, and outputs. Okay. So for people that are still in the spot where you were and maybe struggling, don't know what to do, or just sort of trying anything, you probably agree there's a lot of confusing information out there. Nothing's quite working. They're trying their hardest, but nothing's working. What sort of advice do you have for these people?
Get on your program as quick as possible. Don't think about it, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I wish I'd have done it, you know, when you first started, whenever that was.
Yeah, that's what everyone says.
Yeah. I just wouldn't even think about it, just do it.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So last question I have for you, knowing that you don't know where you're going to be in the future in the business, short term, what are you looking most forward to? Is there a specific part of the business you're really focusing on? Do you have a specific goal that you want to be hitting, like short term? What would that be for you?
You know, I think just maybe getting better at all the little things. You know, I want to master every element. Mm-hmm. so that you know, I know we have to deal with everything as we go, but I feel like I'm still trying to nail certain aspects to it. Mm-hmm. And really, you know, with this, until I finish the course, I'll probably go back to week 1 and listen to it all over again.
Yes.
Until I really get there, I'm so focused on what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. I'm just so happy with the results that I'm getting so far. Mm-hmm. I can't, at the moment, I just want to finish the course, get all your stuff, implement everything. And then at least I think then I'll look and say, right, what am I going to do now? Mm-hmm. Or everything that I've learned, what am I going to do? Mm-hmm. And at that point, then I can determine what the rest of the year looks like for me.
Wonderful.
I think that's it. And, you know, and I'm happy with that now.
Beautiful. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. So for anybody watching this, who's your ideal client and how can they get a hold of you?
My ideal client is a professional woman who is struggling with anxious thinking, mm-hmm. self-sabotage, and is looking to crush, you know, self-doubt, mm-hmm. and wanting to live their life without limits. Mm-hmm. And I can get them there.
Beautiful. Yeah. Excellent. So what we'll do, Shana, is we'll put, is Facebook the best place to get a hold of you, or website? What is it for you?
Yes, it's going to be Facebook.
Okay. We'll put that link below in the comments, guys. So if you are looking for someone like Shana to help you with those things in your life around anxiety and crushing it in your life and things like that, guys, go into the description, click on the link, go check out Shana. I'm sure she'll be more than happy to chat to you about what she can do for you. But Shana, that is all. That is awesome. I honestly thought you'd been in this program for like a year. So 6 to 7 weeks. Knowing what you've done is just mind-boggling for me. So thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to let you get back to work because I know you're busy. Read that book, and that's all I can say. Read that book. It'll change your life. I guarantee it.
Well, thank you. And thank you for everything, Scott. Really,
my pleasure. Shana, thank you so much. I'll see you over in the group. Get back to work. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Shana.